Everybody, welcome back to another Mass Retirees Weekly Update. I'm Sean Duhamel. Today is Friday, May 13th. Happy Friday the 13th. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining with us again this week. May continues to be a pretty busy time for Mass Retirees. Following a busy April with the GIC going out for their procurement and the House, of course, passing their budget at the end of the month that contained the 5% COLA for retirees. There's a lot going on. This week on Tuesday, the State Senate filed its version of the budget. That budget will be taken up and debated in the State Senate during the week of May 23rd, so about a week and a half from now that will take place. In the meantime, we are very busy trying to advocate and gain support for improvements to the cost of living adjustment to be included within the Senate's budget. Now, the version of the budget that came out of the Senate Ways and Means Committee on Tuesday contains a 3% cost of living adjustment on a $13,000 base for state and teacher retirees. This is the same language that was originally included in the House Ways and Means version of the budget back in April. We were able to amend that to increase it up to 5%. Now, we're filing two amendments in the Senate budget. It's the same language that we proposed on the House side. The first amendment, which is going to be filed by State Senator Mike Brady from Brockton. He is the Senate chairman of the Joint Committee on Public Service, which of course is the legislative committee where all of the retirement legislation originates. Senator Brady is a great friend of Mass Retirees, great friend of yours, strong advocate for working people. He will be carrying the amendment in the Senate to increase the percentage paid to state and teacher retirees from the 3%, and what we are proposing is increasing that amount up to 5.9%, which of course is the Consumer Price Index for 2022. 5.9% is also the percentage that was used this year for Social Security. So that's what we're proposing for the percentage. Now, in terms of the COLA base for state and teacher retirees, as you know, the base rate now for state and teacher retirees remains at $13,000. That amount was set back in 2011 when the base was increased by $1,000 to the current level of $13,000. We are working with State Senator Brendan Creighton from Lynn. He is filing an amendment increasing the state and teacher base to a new level of $16,000. Now, the House opted not to include that language in the budget, but we're going to take a second shot at it in the Senate. We'll see where how things work out, but over the coming week, we will be working to gain as many co-sponsors for both of these amendments amongst the 40 state senators, with a goal of getting at least a majority of the senators on board in terms of co-sponsoring these amendments. They will be then taken up again during the week of the 23rd. So this is our primary focus right now. The COLA is a super important issue. Those of you who are local retirees, Senator Brady's amendment does include a local provision to allow local retirement boards to increase the local COLA up to 5% if the retirement board chooses to do so. That's the language that was passed in the House, and we're filing that same provision within Senator Brady's amendment in the Senate. The COLA base at the local level, of course, is set by the local retirement board in conjunction and with the approval of the local legislative body. And the COLA base amongst the 102 local systems ranges from a low of $12,000 all the way up to a high at this point of $18,000. And we know that there are a growing number of local retirement systems that are now looking at and taking steps to increase the COLA base. And we're going to have a full report on that in our upcoming July edition of The Voice. But we know that the city of Worcester just recently increased their COLA payment up to $16,000. The city of Salem, the retirement system has approved a $15,000 base, which is now before the Salem City Council. And the list of retirement systems across the state is growing day by day. And again, we'll include all of that information in the July Voice, along with further information of what you can do at the local level of working with your local retirement board to advocate for improvements at the local level as well. Now, all of this, of course, comes as a result of the great success that our public pension systems and the investment returns have generated really since the mid-1980s, when the current pension funding mechanisms were put in place and that there became a dedication to maintaining the government share of pension funding going forward. And that goes all the way back to 1986. And over that period of time, or since then, we've had a number of individuals and legislators and governors and advocates and union officials step up to the plate, working directly with mass retirees, not only to advocate for proper funding, but also to advocate for improvements in benefits, improvements in the COLA, improvements in health care, defending our benefits when attacks have come in. Now, one of those individuals is someone, he's our newest member of Mass Retirees, just joined up with us over the past week. He's retired Fall River Police Sergeant Jim Machado. And why I'm pointing out Jimmy Machado in particular is not necessarily for his role as a police officer in Fall River, and that not to say that that's not important, as well as his role as the executive director of the Mass Police Association. And as a matter of fact, their office is located right down the hall from us right now. Jimmy and I both came on board here at 11 Beacon Street with our respective organizations back in 1994. We've been good friends and colleagues ever since. But over that period of time, Jim's role has evolved. He was first appointed by Governor Bill Weld to the Pension Reserves Investment Management Board, the so-called PRIM board, back in the mid-90s. After serving on PRIM for a period of time, Governor Swift appointed Jim to serve as a commissioner on the Public Employee Retirement Administration Commission, known as PERAC. As a matter of fact, both Frank Valeri, our association president, and Joe Connerton, our association treasurer, are both retirees from PERAC, Joe having been the executive director for over 20 years, and Frank having been the assistant executive director for a significant period of time. Throughout those years, Jim Machado has been a constant figure at PERAC. In fact, he is the longest serving PERAC commissioner, having just completed 20 years on the commission before stepping down from that role this past Wednesday. And throughout that time, he's not only been a friend to our association and to many of us personally, but he's also been someone who repeatedly has stepped up to the plate and advocated not just for police officers or not just for public safety workers, but for all retirees from every corner of public service across the Commonwealth. And it's because of the work of folks like Jim that we're in the position today that we're finally able to make some, hopefully, significant improvements to your benefits. All of that work that has gone in over the past 30, 40 years has led us to the point that we're at now, that the systems have been successful, that many systems are approaching full funding before the end of this decade. As a matter of fact, we have a handful of local systems that, barring continued problems with the stock market, and it's probably not a good idea to look at it day by day given the world events right now, but we're really in a great position. It's because of the work that has gone in, the work that's gone into modernizing the approach to our pension funding, having a regulatory agency that not only oversees the investments and the regulation of our retirement systems, but is a source of accurate, factual information for policymakers and for organizations like Mass Retirees that we can make informed decisions and put smart policy in place on behalf of our members. So, Jimmy, if you're watching this, congratulations on a wonderful career. Sorry to see you go from PERAC, but we are delighted to have you as our newest member. I know you're not done with your advocacy work, and we'll find a role for you here at Mass Retirees of working with us as you always have done to benefit public retirees, and it's even more important that you're now one of them. So welcome aboard, but thank you so much everyone for tuning in. We'll be back to you again next week with a really important update of where we are at in terms of the COLA amendments in the State Senate. Again, we're going to be working over the coming week to gain as many co-sponsors in the Senate as we can. We'll have a full update for you next Friday, heading into budget week in the Senate. But in the meantime, thank you for tuning in. Stay safe, and we'll be back to you again very soon. Bye-bye.